Hey there guys, and welcome. Now yesterday or the day before in the previous video you guys were watching when I did with Sia Bonga of Omni Secure, I did mention I'm going to be doing an interview with GirlCode. And today we do have GirlCode in the building with us. Not just anyone from GirlCode, the founder and CEO, Zandile. Now I do have a bit of your bio over here for you. I also want to read it to the audience, and after we'll jump straight into the conversation. So, a little thing about Zandile, she is the founder and CEO of GirlCode, as mentioned before, a social enterprise aimed at empowering young girls and women through technology. Over the past 8 years, GirlCode has grown to be the largest women tech lead educational organization in South Africa, impacting over 60,000 girls and women. GirlCode is solely dedicated to bridging the gender gap within the tech industry. Zandile, how are you doing?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me.
I'm doing good. I'm just dying of this heat here in Joburg.
It's so hot. Like
it's
we're going
so
through
hot.
a heat wave now in South Africa, so it's crazy.
The one thing I will say I do love about GirlCode is, well, let me first start off by saying that the coding industry or the coding sector, it's heavily dominated by males and everything, right?
Yes.
But what you guys are doing, you're breaching that gap by making it more woman-focused as well.
100%.
With that in mind, what was the motivation or the idea? What drove you to actually start GirlCode?
Yeah, so I mean, I've always been into like STEM, math, science, technology, all of that stuff. In varsity, I studied computational and applied mathematics, and I didn't really even see the gender divide until I got into the workplace, where suddenly it was like, okay, why are there a lot of guys here and not women? And I think in the company that I was working for at the time when I finished university, just attending events, also hackathons and tech events, I started to notice that there was definitely a shortage of women. And so I'm always like, problem solving. That's how I am. That's how I'm driven. And for me, there was an opportunity to come up with a solution to not having women in the company that we were working in, and just women in general participating in the tech sector. So I came up with the idea to have a hackathon, but only invite women, and also use it as a way that the company could potentially hire some of those women from the hackathon. So we had our first GirlCode hackathon in 2014, and that initially was just wanting to create a safe space where young girls and women could come, showcase what they're capable of in terms of coding, and potentially get job opportunities.
I am so sorry for that, guys. My phone was still on. Usually I turn these things off, but coming back to the conversation quickly. So you're speaking about like how you guys started the hackathon. Well, your first one was in 2014 and how it's been good empowering women. But now we're in 2023 and we're going on to 2024 in the next, like a month and a bit.
Yeah.
What do you see the future of coding in the women's aspect? Do you feel like more women and girls are going to be more in coding, or is going to be less? Because I know when I was in varsity, I'm not going to say which varsity it was, I was doing a web development course, and majority of my classmates were women. But then sadly, most of them didn't want to go into that field anymore. So with that in mind, do you think more women are going to get into developing and coding, or do you think it's going to somewhat stay the same or go down?
So I think a bit of both, right? From what we've seen, women are definitely interested in coding, but the thing about technology is it's such a vast space, right? So there's creative things you can do, like be a front-end developer. So not necessarily being like back-end and doing like really intensive like back-end coding, but we're seeing that women are more drawn to front-end, where they get to design the visual aspects of how your page looks and that type of stuff. So I think there's going to be more of women going into that, because I think women in general also like we like visual things. We like to make things look pretty.
I will say, like, I'm more of a creative. If I had to go into a developing space, I would want to do front-end as well. I also find this is a me thing. I feel like front-end is a bit more easier to code, but I mean the idea behind being more creative is much more challenging.
100%, exactly. That's it, right? So we're seeing, and also we're seeing low code and no code becoming a thing now.
Sorry,
right?
what?
Low code and no code applications.
I've never heard that before.
So basically, what it means is that someone has already done all the back-end coding stuff, right? And
so it's like
more like a
template.
drag and drop type of applications where you can actually fully build a website, any software, but you don't actually have to do the coding behind it, right? You can use the APIs that are already developed and just kind of drag and drop and put it into place. So that's becoming popular. And I think that will also draw more women into that space where they don't necessarily have to learn coding languages and just have to actually run a competition using one tool like that. So I think that's going to become...
I know over here in the studio we've actually done, because we do a bit of UI and UX design, I think we use Bootstrap or something for that, where you can just drag and drop. You still have to do a bit of coding, and then one of my friends over here, they said they use Figma, which is a whole drag and drop system like that.
100%. So whereas Figma ends up being sort of a static, it's not a real website. With the low code or no code platforms, it actually is a website that you publish. Yeah, so that's the cool stuff. So we're evolving an AI now, can assist you with coding.
I feel like one day AI will be able to just build you your whole website by just giving you a prompt.
Basically, you just prompt what you want and it builds it. And I think we just need women to be part of those rooms where ideas of whatever the next innovation are being put together. Because I think for me, the most important thing is that when one sort of group of people are developing something that all of us are using, it's very dangerous because they have their own inherent biases that become part of that particular solution. So the idea is we need different voices, different perspectives, and that's why it's important for us to drive for women to be part of it, right? And we're not necessarily driving for women to be like back-end software developers. We're just saying be part of the technology world, be part of creating innovations. We need your voices and we need your perspectives.
Now, you're speaking about innovation and technology, and that reminds me of something. Well, it doesn't really remind me. It's pretty much the whole point of these interviews. Tech Awards. Yes. So now you were actually one of the winners at the Tech Awards, and you won for the social impact.
Yes.
Now, I asked Sibong the same question yesterday, and he gave me a really good answer I was happy to hear. I'm wondering if you would give me a similar answer. With the Tech Awards in mind, and how much did it actually help you guys as a company or even as an individual? Do people come to you? Do people reach you out, say, hey, I want to work with you. I want to be part of your dream?
So I think this particular tech award and any tech awards that we receive, for me, it's not about standing in front of a stage and saying, oh, look how amazing I am or how the organization is, but it's the recognition that we're getting, right, from the industry and from EPF saying that we recognize the work that you're doing. And so that allows other people in the ecosystem that maybe we're not part of, like, the EPF ecosystem, that see what we're doing and have reached out and said, hey, we want to work with you guys. We see the work that you're doing. We saw that you won the award. And we got a lot of those requests, right, coming from LinkedIn. And I said, I'm a very active person.
I've seen you are very active. I mean, out of everyone that we've met here at the foundation, I think I could confidently say you're the most active that I've seen.
I really am, and I think because social media really allows you to reach people that you wouldn't otherwise reach and get into other networks. So having posted that we won that particular award, already people, and Nathan, he
reposts everything, he does everything,
that reached out to his network, and we've had people saying, can we work with you guys? What do you guys do? Can you know more about that information? So it's really amazing because it allows us to grow. And then the only way to grow is by growing the network and through connections.
I mean, when you think about connections, like now, like back in the old days, you would have to go out, search people, put an ad in the paper. Now it's all about connections, if you know how to use social media and if you know how to talk to your target.
100%.
Before we end, I do want to mention something or ask you a question. So you do know next year I heard that you are starting a podcast next year through us. Well, not heard, I know about the whole thing. What is it actually going to be about?
Yeah, so I mean, having been an entrepreneur now for about 10 years.
That is a long time.
10 years. Although technically 5 years. The first 5 I still had a full-time job, right? So it was a side hustle. Then it became my full-time
Even if it is a side hustle, in my opinion, I still say it's still being an entrepreneur, except you just have a side job, your main job there for funding your entrepreneurial dream.
Exactly. That's what I always tell people, by the way. Like, my main job funded, my dream and allowed me to get here. So people that always say, no, this is like going off track a bit, but, the people always saying on social media that you're being paid to forget about your dreams. That's not true.
It's not.
That's not true. You can use your job also to be able to accelerate your dream. But yeah, just getting
the podcast,
back to the podcast. So we'll be doing a podcast focused really on empowering female entrepreneurs. It's really focused on having female entrepreneurs coming here and sharing their particular journey and their struggles and challenges, but also the lessons learned. And the idea is the more we share with each other, the more we can, accelerate growth faster for the next entrepreneur coming into that. So I'm really excited. I want more women to take up opportunities, to be entrepreneurs, to build sustainable businesses. That's what it's about. It's not about creating a job for yourself only. It's about how can we help you create a job where you employ 10, 100, thousands of other people. So I'm looking forward to that.
Well, Zandile, thank you so much. Every time I talk to you, it's always a great conversation. Always just this bubbly person. And to you guys out there, thank you guys so much for watching. Please do leave a like, follow our LinkedIn, Instagram, and our YouTube channel. This video will be on all those platforms, depending where you're watching it right now. I hope you guys do have a good day. And yeah, share the video as well. Like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz. And we will catch you in the next one. Do you want to look in the camera and also do that as well? Cool, thanks.
Thank you.